Here in the Listings tab, you're able to view all listings that you have in the MLS. Again, this is why it's very important to make sure that your MLS ID is in your profile area and in there correctly. That way all of your listings can import over into your Listings tab. That way you can keep an eye on them, you can make changes, and you can make edits. And of course, you can take customized URLs created by LeadStreet and blast them out on emails, drip marketing, and of course on your social media. So as we look at this listing right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on View. But before I do that, I just want to point out some important information. It's going to show the MLS ID, the type, obviously it's an MLS listing. It's going to show the city, the list price, whether it's accurately mapped. Again, this has a green check, which makes sure that it is accurately mapped. Listing viewed, it says 0. PV, preview on map. MP, main photo. AP, additional photos. FP is floor plans, VT is virtual tour, VID is video tour, and OH is an open house. So if you don't see checks in specific areas, that means this listing does not host those specific aspects. Now, if we click on view, we're going to be able to get into a sub area. Now, you can only get into this sub area if you do have listings and if those listings are importing over into your LeadStreet account. Now, we're able to see details, which is basically just the general information. We can see photos and tours. We can even add information and change information from here. One aspect that I really want to make very clear is if you make any changes, once a main photo is manually uploaded, that means through LeadStreet, not through the MLS main photo will not replace the manually uploaded photo. Deleting the manually uploaded photo will return the MLS photo if available. So what they're trying to tell you is if you make any edits or changes within this area of LeadStreet, it will overwrite anything that's been placed into the MLS. It also makes it a little bit clearer in this area as well. Once additional MLS photos for a listing have been manually uploaded or reordered, the agent assumes responsibility for maintaining the listing's photo. That means if you reorganize or change any photos here in LeadStreet and then a week later you put in new photos in the MLS, those new photos in the MLS will not populate. And if you want to have the manual overwrite removed or restored, what you have to do is contact eCare, who then has to contact Reliance Network, who will then restore it back to the MLS-powered information, which could take up to 4 or 5 days. So make sure if you want to change any elements of your listing, it's best to always do that within the MLS. You're also able to put in virtual tours, videos. Again, you can either use a link or HTML code if you have access. And you can also upload a floor plan if available. That way that floor plan will show up in another area known as flyers, where you can create a flyer with the floor plan embedded into that flyer. Virtual showings are very important because this allows a RE/MAX agent to see which clients of other RE/MAX agents are actually looking at their listings. Now, this information is limited because all you see is the client number and the agent that has that client as a web client. Now, the important thing to remember here is you're able to reach out directly to the agent to find out if that specific client is interested in the property available. So what they've done is they've allowed you to click on email agent, and what will happen is a preloaded message will pop up explaining exactly what the situation is and exactly who the client is that is looking at your listing. Now, you can change this information all you want, but if you want, you can leave it the same as you see it. That way you can just send that email as quickly as possible just by clicking on send email, and that email will go directly to that agent, or of course you can call that agent if you know them and just let them know that you do have a listing that their client might be interested in. So this information can be very beneficial to allow you to communicate with an agent who has a client interested or possibly interested in one of your listings. Also known as seller reports, this is a very powerful tool because it provides comps to your sellers, letting them know up to 20 similar properties in a geographical area of their listing with similar price, plus or minus 50%, similar bedrooms, bathrooms, and property style. It can be very helpful because it can give them perspective. If you've let that client know that perhaps they should lower or raise their price, the numbers can speak for themselves. These reports will go out every Monday around 8:30 a.m. You can also copy yourself on these reports to make sure that you are receiving a copy as well, prompting you to contact that client to ensure that they did receive a copy as well, sparking the conversation to see if the client has decided what they want to do in terms of lowering or raising the price of their listing. Now, location, if you ever have to manually adjust the location of a listing, you'll come in here and you'll position the property as close to the specific location as possible. Again, this typically doesn't happen in metro areas unless it's a brand new building or perhaps it's a brand new neighborhood. But typically in metro areas, the mapping of the location of the property is pretty seamless. It's operated by Google Maps, and most of the time it is 100% accurate. But if not, you can come in here and make it as accurate as possible manually. Flyers. Flyers are very important because this area allows you to produce a flyer very quickly that's going to show a photo or photos of the property along with the general specifics. Now, depending on which flyer you choose will depend on how much information is actually divulged in the flyer. Now, as we spoke earlier, the floor plan, I can't use this flyer unless there is a floor plan. As you can see, this selection is dormant, not allowing me to select floor plan flyer because we don't have a floor plan uploaded for this specific listing. However, you can choose from any of these other flyers to populate quickly. It will have your contact information on there. It'll also have your photo, a QR code, and all the general specifics of the listing itself. Now, you can also come down here and customize your flyers depending on how you want these flyers to look. Design Center. This is your gateway into Design Center. And after you learn a little bit more about Design Center, it'll make a little bit more sense. Now, if you want to make a specialty flyer or perhaps a specialty virtual tour, you will be able to do this in Design Center. However, if you come into this part of Design Center, you can actually choose the specific listing that you want to use. Come over here into Design Center and choose one of these selections, and this window will pop up saying Select and Continue will open a new window to the RE/MAX Design Center outside of the LeadStreet intranet. That's because LeadStreet and Design Center are two separate platforms. This button allows us to use Design Center for this specific listing. That means if we hit continue, all the information that we have in the MLS regarding this listing will port over into Design Center, saving us a lot of time and energy in creating this flyer or virtual tour without having to manually upload each picture individually. Using this route will allow all the information to port over to Design Center, making it much easier for us to create these marketing materials. In the manual section of the Listings navigation button, we're allowed to do two things. Either create a demo listing or create a manual listing. Now, even though they're one and the same, a demo listing is for a listing presentation, while a manual listing is to merge the data with an existing MLS number with the MLS data, or manual override, which will allow you to override all the information currently in the MLS regarding this property. Now, we're not going to actually create one, but I am going to show you exactly how you can build a demo and manual listing inside LeadStreet. So if we click on Create Demo Listing, first and foremost, we need to accept the terms. We first need to accept these terms so all these dormant tools will then become active, allowing us to actually create this manual listing. So if we click on I accept the terms and conditions for manual listing entry, as you see, we can now choose whether we want it to be a demo, manual merge listing, manual override listing. Now, there are a few pieces of information that are required, one being the MLS number. Okay, that already has to be established. So this information does already have to be in the MLS. It just may not have ported over from the MLS into the LeadStreet account. Now, we also need expiration. Okay, so you can choose how long this will lay on. Now, at this point, we can select our MLS, property type, and also the county where this property is listed. Now, once we add this information, we'll be able to continue on and add to our listings tab to reflect this information. Now, this is great for a listing presentation because you can build this information quickly, and that way you can show what it would look like online for marketing purposes and to create a URL specifically for that listing. Now, if you're meeting with a potential client, it'd be a great idea to build one of these listing presentations for them to let them see exactly how you can market and promote their property. Now, one thing that you want to keep in mind, manual listings are for preloading your listings that have not yet been downloaded from the MLS system. That's why this feature exists. To preload a listing, you must be the listing agent of record with the MLS, which means you must be the primary agent. Now, if you're a secondary agent on this listing, you will not be able to have this feature. Now, you'll still see the manual section, but you will not be able to use that MLS because your MLS ID is not the primary MLS ID connected with this MLS number. So that's very important to keep in the back of your mind. Now, if we go back to the previous page and we click on Create Manual Listing, you're going to see that it's exactly the same. So both of these features will take you to the same place. You must also accept the terms, but it's already going to preload you into the manual merge listing. listing. Now again, you can change that if you want to manual override listing and demo listing, and the rest of the information is the same. So that's what this information is here for, to create either a demo listing or a manual override or a manual merge listing. The reports tab can be very important depending on what kind of information you're looking for. So as we scroll down, we can see that some of these will show sell report information, virtual showings, listings viewed on your website, listings viewed by a client, MLS listing activity, MLS update report, and competitive activity report. So that information is going to be pulled directly from the MLS, and it's going to show everything about your listings that are relevant. MLS listing activity. You can use this report to view activity for listings in the MLS. That way you can see what's going on with other properties that might be comparable to your listings. Now scrolling down, we're going to find some other ones. MLS update report. View last update of listing data and photos along with any notes for technicians. Competitive activity report. MLS research report. So this shows your listings. View the report summary for all of your listings. Compare listings, so we can find some comps. Compare other agents' listings. So you can look at other agents' listings and see what kind of properties that they're taking on, if they're a certain amount of luxury properties. So you can compare other agents' listings. So that way you can look at other agents and view their listings, see which ones they're taking on, perhaps inside your market area. So that's everything that we're going to look at regarding the listings navigation button. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us.